hear me out, Ryan. I just don't understand the Dak Prescott hype. And so we've seen some drama between the Cowboys this past week with the trade with Trey Lance, and I wanted to run by some interesting stats that we've seen from Dak over the years. So here you go. Here is the initial stats from Dak Prescott as a starter. He's 61-36. He's thrown 25 interceptions in the last 2 seasons. He threw an interception in 9 of the last 11 games. His QBR in 2022 was 59.9 according to ESPN, and that ranked 12th among active QBs for 2022. He's also 2-4 in the playoffs since he started in the NFL. So for me, a lot of people it just seemed as if, the media, social media, what have you, the America's team has just been all in on Dak. And I'm not saying that he's a bad quarterback by no stretch of the imagination, but the hype that he has been put on as far as being a top 10, top 5 quarterback, or at least having that potential, just hasn't come to fruition. So should it come as a shock that we saw this trade for Trey Lance? I'm not quite sure. I think that that Jerry is going to see what happens with Dak in the first half of this season, maybe the first 4 games. And if we start to see more of the Dak that we saw last season, then perhaps Trey Lance could end up making a debut with the Cowboys this year.
It's interesting. I hear you on that. I don't think we see much of Trey Lance unless the Cowboys are out of the race, just because Trey Lance hasn't played a lot of football, and I love his talent. But just like with everything you do in life, you need reps, you need that experience. And for a team that has higher aspirations like the Cowboys, they're not necessarily going to hand it over to a quarterback, in my opinion, that is still trying to figure out how he works as a specific, not just as an athlete, but a quarterback in the NFL. I love Dak, by the way. He's one of my favorite players out there because I love how he handles himself. And he's on the team that gets a lot of publicity, and he's going to be criticized over and over again. Having said that, though, it kind of leads to a thought is the roster's talented, but for whatever reason, the Cowboys over a span of decades have not been able to get back to where they want to go. And people like you were saying, that roster on paper looks pretty damn good.
Yeah, it has. And it has over his entire career.
You can't dispute 61-36 record. He's done a lot of great things. It's just going to be, can they, regardless of it for Dak, if the Cowboys don't make that next step and don't get to the NFC Championship, I feel like everything, the drum's still just going to continue to beat louder. And a point that I kind of want to bring up then is that, Dak only at the time signed a 4-year contract extension, right? So everything now moving forward is, what's it going to be like for him to get that longer contract or second contract from the Cowboys? He can go out there and ball out. We've seen it, but it's going to be in the bigger moments